All right, my favorite people, for those of you who are wondering and curious, is now the right time for me to leave my safe 9 to 5 to shift entirely to being a full-time investor? So by the end of this, we'll give you insights whether or not that is a decision worth pursuing. So you'll definitely want to stay until the very end. All right, you know the next steps. Those of you who are on the YouTube, hit that subscribe button as well as the notification bell. That way you can be informed moving forward. Every Tuesday and Thursday, the double T's, there we go, is when this content will drop. And those of you who are listening on other platforms, leave that rating and just add it to your calendar. That way you'll be able to have that. So the reason why I want to go into this is a common question that I do have for individuals that ask me is, when did you decide to make the shift from your full-time job to the industry? I've personally never really had a full-time job that I would say that was 9 to 5 as a career. Since my early days of when I came out the womb was entrepreneurship. I remember where I had to figure out a way to earn money because it was on welfare, Section 8 housing, and I'm sure of other government assistance, food stamps. That from there is I didn't want to take the illegal route, which is what most people did take in my environment. I took more of I sold Kool-Aid, not another substance. It was actually Kool-Aid. So I would take Kool-Aid packets and then sugar and then mix those into little plastic bags and then sell those, and then also Pokemon cards. So anything I get, and I would play cards as well as a way to make money. And from there is I had an Amazon business, and where I would buy Elsa dolls, for instance. Yes, Elsa dolls. Buy those buy for low and then sell for high. And just any other thing I could get my hands on is I would buy it low and then sell it high. And I always had side businesses that I was working on. I've still had jobs, but nothing that was to the extent that was very long that I wanted to where I wanted that to be a career. I worked at Kids Foot Locker. That was a fun job. I worked at a popsicle shop. I worked at a grocery store, Marsh. That was my very first job. I worked at Amazon warehouse. And just going back to that Marsh story is I knew working those types of jobs was not for me. And I remember there was one point, it was very early in the morning, that my manager had asked me to go pick up the trash that was at the gas station. The gas station was actually on within the parking lot. And he said, go get the trash and then come back. That I was very miserable at that job. And I remember going to get that trash with the cart, and I just walked right on home. And that's how done I was with just working for someone else. It was not a fit for me personally, and I knew I was meant for something more. So that was my story and when I really went full time in investing was when I ended up finding a mentor. I was living in my friend's den, and from there I was working for them for completely free, and I still had a side business that I was using to support my overhead. So that's my story on just my jobs that I've had, and just context on how I was able to make the shift myself personally. So let's go into the first one with really determining whether or not you want to decide to make that shift, and some things to consider as you make that decision. So the first is how you will be living. And this is more so is what I've seen most people do is they'll save up anywhere between 6 months to a year worth of expenses. That way is that, let's say it takes them 6 months to a year to get their first deal. Let's say you're looking to wholesale, is that one or multiple deals. Now you have that income that you're able to live on. So most people having consideration that I want to save up until this because I know that within that duration of time, I'll be able to start doing deals and I'll be able to live off that income. So that's the first thing to consider is how you will be living and what overhead that you may need to cover, and you may need to have that in reserves. You may want to have that in reserves because the scenario you wouldn't want to be in is that you get into the industry. Let's say you didn't give yourself any reserves. Now you're looking for shortcuts, and shortcuts myself personally is I'm not a fan of, because from what I've seen and being in the industry and those who are further ahead than me, is it's a long-term play. If you come in with a short-term view, is that you'll take shortcuts, which you won't last very long in the industry. So one, you just gotta calculate how much money you need from the expense side as well as income too. That way you'll be able to float until you start to get deals into your pipeline, and then now you can live off that income. So that's one thing, or you can still stay at your job as you're doing this on the side as well. So the second is what your level of knowledge and skills are. You'll definitely want to consider this. You'll definitely want to know the fundamentals when it comes to investing in real estate, whether how to buy a good deal, what is a good deal, what are your numbers, how to raise money if you're looking to raise money, how to be able to get financing. So you want to have all this knowledge, because if you make the shift and now you're trying to learn this all on the go, now that's more time that you have to commit to that versus just going out there and being able to take action and more so ramp things up. That way you're able to get deals into your pipeline that you're able to close and be able to live off that income to fund as you fund the business and yourself in addition to that. The third is to see yourself doing it long term. And what this means is that, and I've seen it countless times of investors that, and these are individuals that have actually purchased deals from, is they see on HGTV that, oh, it took or it took a couple days overnight. Well, that's what they project in the shows, at least, is that it was a quick turnaround for one buying the property in distressed condition. And then it shows that, oh, they were able to make a profit of this, which they don't factor in all of the actual numbers and also the work that it took to get to that point. So I remember one deal ended up walking in on it because was looking to buy it, which ended up purchasing it, that the owner, you could just see that he was burnt out. That I remember walking in, both my partner and I, on that property, is that there was half laminate flooring laid in. There was materials everywhere. The bathroom wasn't completed. It wasn't even touched. It didn't look like. The lights weren't on. And I remember going upstairs. It was half done. And this person wanted out. And they ended up selling that property and the one that they owned on the same street at a discounted price. And because one, they didn't really see themselves doing it long term. They saw it as more of, hey, this is a new craze. I've seen this on TV. It looks to be easy. They actually got into it and decided, this is not necessarily a good fit. I'm actually now going to do something else. So there's that. Fourth is you want to consider what investing strategy you'll start with. Will you do buy and hold? Will you do fix and flip? Will you be doing wholesaling? So there's that. And then there's also, will you be in self-storage? Will you be in mobile home parks? Will you be in multifamily? By all means, you definitely want to be in multifamily. That's the way to go. Will you be in single family? There's so many different niches and niches within niches that are out there. So just picking one, okay, this is the one I want to take action on. And the one you first start out at may not be the one that you end up at. You may end because myself, I started construction, then I shifted to doing wholesaling, then I did fix and flip, and this was all single families, and then started doing buy and hold of multifamily, and then buy and hold of multifamily. So that's about 4 to 5 different pivots in the real estate industry. But the key that I did was just took action. because you commit first and you figure a lot of the rest out later. And that's a good way to avoid the analysis paralysis that most people make. Go ahead and comment below if you are in analysis paralysis mode. Hopefully not, because I do not want to be a part of your analysis paralysis. If so, go ahead and just exit this content. No, we don't have to be that aggressive. And then the last is, how much will you need to be able to scale up, especially in the event you decide you want to keep your current 9-to-5, especially if there's people in different scenarios out there that may not be a single guy, such as myself. You may have more family, that more obligations that you have to take care of, and you're not able to just decide to burn the bridges and then shift, because you've got people more so that are counting on you in that scenario. So there's even more at risk. So you can do the math and say, okay, on the side is I will do this amount of deals, and then once I get to this passive income amount, or let's say I've done this amount of deals and been able to get this active income, and I've been able to build up this nest egg of capital, then I'll decide I've got the proof of concept. Now I can make the shift. So if on the passive side, do you need 8 units? Do you need 50 units? Do you need 200 units to now have the monthly income to replace the current income that you currently have? And now you can decide, okay, I no longer want to be in this job. You say, have a good day, boss, I'm gone. And there's other not so nice things that you can say on your departure, depending on how that relationship is. But you do you on that side. So yeah, you guys, is the main thing is, you just have to decide what makes the most sense to you. Everyone is different, whether you want to have 6 months, a year worth of reserves of the expense side. That way, once you make the shift, you have more of a cushion. Or maybe you take the route and say, okay, well, I will build the portfolio on the side while I'm still at this 9-to-5. Maybe you don't enjoy it, maybe you do enjoy it, and then now you have enough income and say, okay, now I'm actually going to make the shift as a way to protect more of your downside. So yeah, that's it pretty much. And those of you, the next steps, hit that subscribe button as well as the notification bell. You got to be informed moving forward, and we'd love to hear from you all. I haven't heard from most of you in a while, so go ahead and comment below. Just want to check in with you. What is your one word opener on how you feel up until this day of actually listening to this content that I have for you? Is what's your one word? My one word right now is muggy, because here in Houston right now it is very muggy outside, and this will be my first summer here, and I've heard the summers can be very brutal. So it is what it is. I'm just going to take it how it comes. And yeah, if anyone has any insights on the Houston summers, let me know. Hopefully it's not as bad as the Indies winters. And also, you guys, if you haven't already, grab your free copy of the book, a link just below, from 0 to 400 units. Until then, keep being awesome. Have a great one. Thank you.